Hello and welcome to yet another one of my reviews. No, I'm not dead. I was actually focusing on school more, so I didn't do a whole lot. But I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance, so let's get this started. I've never really liked Final Fantasy games. There were only three I really enjoyed. Dirge of Cerberus, which is part of the XIII Chronicles. It's not exactly a Final Fantasy game because it's a third-person shooter with some RPG elements, meaning it's more like Borderlands than Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VI, because, it had a story that could be summed up in less pages than a textbook. And Final Fantasy Tactics Advance for the Game Boy Advance because, there's a grid and you don't need to use magic. I despise magic. So let's dive right into Square Enix's epic masterpiece, Final Fantasy XIII. I have a weird relationship with this game. The first hour or so, it was cool. And then it got grindy, and I got frustrated, and I said some horrible things to it. And I threw my controller, but not at the TV, because that would kind of suck. I'd need to buy a new television. But I said some horrible things to it, and then I just sort of got used to the grind, and I was like, meh, I don't care. I was like Marvin attempting to play the game, but... And then I hit around hour 5, and then the story started to get better, if you can frickin' call it a story. It's more like the Bible plus Moby Dick plus frickin' anything. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible experience. But it's good at the same time. It is a complete paradox, which is strange. But my biggest complaint is the controls, or rather the lack thereof. The only thing you need, really, is your right thumb on the analog stick, and you just direct the person and around an incredibly linear corridor that apparently has a gigantic echo, because the only thing you hear half the time, other than the soundtrack, is the person's extremely loud footsteps. And it drives you crazy, as Yahtzee points out. And I'm going to put a link to his video in the comment thing. But, dear God! Why do they walk so loud? But now I'm going to focus on other parts of the game. I've only gotten through like 7 hours of it, because this thing is freaking long. It is a slog to get through. By this point, I probably would have beaten any other normal game, like Call of Duty Black Ops. I probably would have been done with it like twice by now. But, this game's somewhere around 76 hours long. So, yeah. It's going to take a while for me to get through the whole thing. But I'm attempting to do it. And I'm giving you my opinion on what's happened so far. Not a lot has happened so far. I'm 7 hours in, and there's barely any plot going on. I mean, you got the l'Cie and the fal'Cie and the blah-de-blah, and I don't care. Because you know what? They're trying to be conceited French people. And why are the names retarded? The names are horrible. You got Lightning, Snow, Hope, frickin' Vanille, who I'd love to find her voice actor and just, like, smash her head in a door. This is not a threat. This is just me commenting on how annoying her voice is, because it makes me want to take a power drill to my eardrums. But, the story isn't bad, I guess. I don't even know what the hell the story is. You're, like, 3 people, and they're all boring. The only person I really relate to is Snow, because he's, like, the hero character. But then you get Lightning, whose real name's Eclair, and she's frickin' the most angsty thing I have ever seen. And then you got Hope, who thinks he's an abomination against nature because now he has magic, and he hates Snow because his mom is dead. And that's seriously his only personality point. It's like, my mom is dead! But I really don't care because I have nothing to sympathize with there. He's a whiny mama's boy who can't do anything until you get to combat, but I'm going to get to that later. Then you get Vanille, who is not in any way like a human being. She's like a Dalek more than a human being. But she's not logical. She is the opposite of Spock. everything she has ever done makes no sense in context to the game. At all! She's like the world's biggest cloud cuckoo lander. And then you got Snow, who's engaged to a girl that turned into Crystal, that's Lightning's sister, but I legitimately don't care. Other than him being a hero and him probably being the only person in my party at some point, he's going to be awesome. And then you got Saz, who is a horrible stereotype, and whoever programmed him needs to be slapped, or maybe just punched in the stomach, or sent to a special ring of hell where they have to play their own abomination of a game. And Fang, but I only really just met her, so I can't give you a whole lot of opinions. To the combat. Oh my god. An Excel spreadsheet is better than the freaking controls for this abomination. You go through this menu and you have to use magic. It's impossible to not do it. But I found a way. I found a way, my fellow gamers. So if you're going to go out there, try and play without magic. Stack your own abilities. Don't ever level up the Ravager grid. But I really don't care for the magic in this game. It's piss weak anyway. What else? The outfits are interesting. To use Yahtzee, once again, it's like somebody designed it on an Etch-a-Sketch, then took some cloth, put it through a threshing machine, and then put it on these people. Vanille ends up wearing the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like a loincloth with beads, and I don't even know what it is, and they're feathers. It's just weird. See, this is why, when I get the opportunity, she's being booted from my party. But 7 hours in, I can't even pick who the hell's in my party. It's just, oh, here's a linear corridor. Yet another linear corridor you can walk down. Walk through it. And so far, they've ripped off Star Wars 3 freaking times. Most recently, I'm on, like, Raxus Prime from Force Unleashed. It's an abomination of a game. But I like it, and I can't stop playing it. The cutscenes are beautiful. The game itself is really nice to look at. Even, I have a crap-ass television, but it's really nice to look at. But it's a cinematic experience. It's not a game, per se. It's more like me putting James Cameron's Avatar Extended Edition in my PlayStation 3 and then watching it over and over, looped. That's how nice it looks. But seriously, if this was any other game, I'd be so far into the story, it wouldn't be funny. The other games I got for Christmas, I've already freaking beat. Because I can just plow through it. This thing is a slogging mess. My final word on this, it gets a 2.5 out of 5. It's not a bad game, per se. It's just bland, and it honestly stops being a game. It's like you're running down a corridor, and you're just going to a cutscene, or a boss fight, or 90% of the time both. But it's really nice. I recommend it if you really like RPGs. But, yeah. It's an okay game. It could be better. I'm gonna do another one when I'm actually done with the game, if I ever get to that point. Okay, so until next time, this has been HammerReview.
This is only the beginning.